You know what's funny about coffee? I had to stop coffee because I was contributing to my anxiety attacks. What's up, everybody? You're watching Wellness Week Live. I am your host, DJ Anthony. Now, I'm not a DR, I'm a DJ. Always check with healthcare professionals. We're two friends here talking. I got Lauri on my show today. I'm pumped up because of a couple reasons, but we're going to be talking about mental health and wellness. And in full disclosure, she's related. We're related. We're cousins. So I'm so pumped up that you're on, Lauri. Thanks for coming on Wellness Week.
You're welcome.
So how are you, Lauri? How's everything going?
I'm good. I mean, I've been battling a cold. I had foot surgery last week, so I'm gimping around. So,
okay.
I've been a little stuck in the house. I'm going a little stir crazy, but
you're wearing a cast? Or?
I have a boot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which I want to blow it out, but you
get the sympathy vote. Oh, poor you. You know, you can milk it for whatever you want.
I had a lady in ShopRite going, "Oh my God, what's wrong with your foot?" I'm like, nothing.
I just wear it for fun. Yeah. Like, what the hell, lady? So, so I was just saying to you off camera that I always try to get people on my show, Wellness Week, to talk about particularly mental health. It's easy to find cardiologists and nutritionists and athletes, but it's hard. And I know psychiatrists and I know psychologists. Mm-hmm. They don't want to talk about mental health. And I'm like, it's a damn shame because there's such a negative stigma still to just, I call it mind health. Mental is a non-starter, but I say mind health because we all have minds. We all have, and as I was telling you off camera, it's okay to have a sore throat, but you can't have a sore mind. Yeah. It's so childish. So let me ask you, Lauri, why do you think most people don't want to speak about mental health? Like, what do you encounter?
I think there's still a stigma. I mean, we're children of the 70s, 80s. Our parents are children of the 40s, 50s, whatever.
Right.
You didn't talk about it. It wasn't something, that, you can't say, "Oh, I'm having anxiety." What are you having anxiety for? "Oh, I don't feel good. I'm depressed." What are you depressed about? You have a great life. You have a beautiful home. People just look at it like almost like a poor me syndrome. Like
right.
You're looking for self-pity, or you're looking for pity, not self-pity. You're looking for somebody to rub your back, but there's still a huge stigma out there with it.
Yeah. And
I suffered in silence for my anxiety started in my early 20s, panic attacks.
Right.
And I suffered until my 30s. Literally.
Wow. And, to your point, people will say, "Well, what are you complaining about? You weren't in World War II. Why should you have stress?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I didn't invade the beaches of Normandy, so I can't complain." Yeah, it's like, it's relative, right? And by the way, it's serious because just because somebody has 10 Ferraris and yachts doesn't mean that they're not hurting or dying inside. And people get hooked on drugs, commit suicide. It's for real. So this stress, it starts off as stress and anxiety, and then here we go. And so, I know
people think it's a choice. Like,
right.
A lot of people think it's a choice. Like, it took a long time for my husband, to fully understand it also. He's totally supportive now. I couldn't ask for, he's my rock. I couldn't ask for anybody more supportive. Right. But even for him, like, he didn't understand, like cancer, you have no choice. And I'm like, it's the same thing.
Right. It's
I don't wake up in the morning. Right. I don't wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to have freaking panic attack today."
Yeah.
I'm going to be depressed and not feel well. And, and it's really one thing about mental illness that is really hard is living in this. It's a very autonomous disease, because most people live in silence and live with it themselves. And
shame. You're ashamed.
You're ashamed, and you put on a happy face, and meanwhile, I'm sitting in church at a wedding and my hands are sweating and I'm bouncing around and I'm like, "Oh my God, I gotta get out of here." And I'm trying to calm myself, and my husband's going, "Stop that." And you're like, people are like, "But why would you have anxiety in church?"
Look at Robin Williams, right? He had everything, right? And what happened? He took his own life, unfortunately. So, mental health is serious, and it could be something small, it could be something large, but to your point, right? It's not it's not a choice to say, everything's going great today. Let me just put myself into a panic attack. Like, our bodies are such intricate machines. They're so powerful and more mysterious than the universe itself, outer space. So we don't know. A glitch happens in this mega computer, and we have a panic attack, or we have a phobia, or even simple stress. Yeah. You can't just be like, "Oh, don't be stressed." Like, it's human. This is what we do. We're humans, and we. So to your point, and that's great that your husband has come around and seen that for you. And me too. I have suffered, especially last year, with panic attacks too. Sent me to the hospital.
Oh, me too.
I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I wasn't trying to have this. But there is hope. If you're watching this, folks, it's not a fait accompli. You can manage it. You can mitigate it. You can cure a lot of the situation, but it takes time. And now let's talk about this. So we touched on people think it's right. They feel shame. They feel like it's, I'm weak. It's me, whatever.
I feel like they can catch it. I think some people are like, ooh.
Yeah. Or they see it as, what's that?
So they don't know what to say or they don't know what to do. But I am finding I have become in the last year, because this last year also for me has been, it started last February. I went through it. It was bad. It was the worst I've ever had in 25 years. And even my best friends don't know it. They know now, but
we know now.
Yeah.
So,
but you can, once I started to really feel like, okay, because it has been coming out of the closet a little bit lately. You've been seeing more of it on TV. People are more willing to talk about it. Not as much as they should, but when I share it, like with you, I never knew that you had panic attacks.
Put me in the hospital twice last year.
So you start sharing it and you go, oh, me too. Like this.
Right.
This me. Oh, I
but, Lauri, I felt like a loser. I felt like, am I weak? Am I weak? Am I, being a little sissy? And especially a man, like us men, we'll die. We'll die before we get help. Yes. It could be anything. Hey, your cholesterol's high. You might have a heart attack. No, it's okay. I'm not going to go to the doctor. Like, and mental I'm listen, I'm not Bruce Lee, but like you said, grew up in the 70s and 80s where you kind of be a tough guy, shut up, So it's hard for me to. And I'm like, no. What is a tough guy is someone or a tough woman is stepping up, speaking about it, because athletes are suffering from this. We know this, right? I mean, you have Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer, making ads about Talkspace, I believe it is, or BetterHelp. And I recommend I use those. By the way, if you like this content, like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down there, over there. Okay. Anyway, so let me ask you this then. My next question to you is, you talked about this, and again, it doesn't have to be panic. It could be just stress and anxiety. So what are you doing? And you mentioned the therapist. So how do you handle your anxiety, your stress, your mental health?
I wasn't handling it for a long time. I was just going, throughout my day, suffering in silence. I tend to go underground, like with my friends, and I'll kind of like, I'm a very social person. I love my friends. I love being out. I love vacations. I love traveling, but I tend to go inside myself and hide. That was not working for me because all I was doing was shoving that shit down.
Right.
And last year it just came to and at the time that it happened was so interesting because we had a lot of stress in our lives for other reasons. We'll get to that at another time, but everything was going okay. I mean, it was like my life was in a good place. My children were doing well. I had a beautiful grandson, a new grandbaby on the way. My marriage was in a great place. We were traveling. We have a little bit of money. We're able, I have a beautiful home.
Right.
And it just, boom, all of a sudden I started getting like these freaking dizzy spells and with anxiety, any little thing, a palpitation. Oh my God, I'm having a heart attack.
100%.
Throws you right into it.
Yep.
My therapist explained it and said, because all these years that you've had this stress that you don't realize you've had
builds up, because
we live in crisis and chaos.
Right.
That's how most people in the world go about their day. That it's crisis and chaos.
Right.
And you become so customized, used to that and living like that you don't realize that you're living like on the edge because you're used to it.
Right.
And I just would push it down and push it down and push it down. And now all of a sudden, Lauri's, you know what? You got some of this shit in here. And it just
volcano.
It like I vomited like out of nowhere.
Right.
So, and it really wasn't out of nowhere. It was still in there, but so I started getting, I went to a different doctor. I was a big medicine phobe too, which also is part of anxiety, phobia of medication. I was like, I'm not fucking, excuse me, I'm taking freaking antidepressants. Oh my God, that's going to make me crazier. That's going to be who I am, blah, 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 blah. And I finally caved and said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, and, I upped my therapy.
Right.
started talking to people. I used this app that my friend Gina gave me called
The Calm app.
Calm. It's amazing.
Yeah, I use that too.
She just gave it to me like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, where have you been my whole life?
Yeah.
I can't meditate because my mind is too.
Yeah, everyone's different. Whatever works for you. But
that's our family.
But,
freaking.
Right. But you know what? I mean, and that's the other thing. I know people, you kind of alluded to it tongue in cheek, but people think, oh, you're crazy. It's like, no, you're not crazy. Again, it's okay to have a sore throat, but you can't have a sore mind. Give me a break. It's childish. So I always like to say, again, mind health, not mental health. Every human on earth, if they can, you should go to therapy. I use BetterHelp. And you go to face-to-face, which is fine, or whatever, you talk to your therapist. But, like it's still kind of, I think, a scarlet letter if you say you have a therapist. Yes. And again, it's so stupid, so immature. It's okay to have a coach. It's okay to have a teacher, but you can't have a therapist. Get everyone.
Anthony, it's so funny because I have so many friends in my life, and I'm also an active member of Al-Anon, so we do different things. But I have so many friends in my life that have so much shit, and everybody has shit. But I look at them sometimes, I'm like, how the hell are you not in therapy?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think it's a shame thing. And there's no, I don't want to hear people's excuses like, oh, I don't have money. You have money for sneakers. You got money for partying. You got money for vacation. You got money for therapy
for free nowadays.
It's not that expensive anymore. But
you can go to things online. There's so many different ways that you can get help.
100%.
Talk to a friend.
Yeah.
There's different things you can
your rabbi, your priest, your whoever, community leader. I mean, by the way, though, I want to, for me, and this is my opinion, I don't know how you feel, but when I was struggling with my, mind health many, many years ago, I thought I could pray it away.
Me too.
And nothing against prayer. God bless prayer. But it would be like trying to say, I'm going to try to pray away my COVID, you're not, and you're not going to pray away anxiety, stress, phobias. You need some kind of help. And maybe it's a prescription drug from your doctor. Maybe it's not. But for instance, I didn't know this, but so when I had my panic attacks and I got put in the hospital, I didn't try to pray it away. But what I did was I took a look at my life. And one of the things, funny enough, I say funny now, I was drinking 5 cups of coffee a day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I cut that coffee out. Magically, my anxiety and panic attacks were much more manageable. I mean, night and day. And that is the cure. Not praying it away, but actually friggin' doing something about it or whatever. You talk to your doctor, you get on a medication, whatever works for you.
There's no right or wrong in how you deal with it.
Right. And if you want to pray and you think, and that helps you, my thing is, my prayer is this: God, walk with me. I got the rest. Like, God gave us a brain. We're going to use it. We're going to talk to the people. We need to talk to the professionals. Again, you got a sore throat, you see your GP for amoxicillin. Well, if you have a sore mind, see your therapist.
Listen, if you have freaking diabetes, you take diabetic medication.
100%.
And nobody ever says, oh my God, you're taking,
Yeah.
you
go to a dietitian or your doctor.
Or Xanax, people are like, oh, what the hell's the matter with her?
Right.
And then outsiders looking in, go, oh, she's got such a great life. Why is she having anxiety? Oh, I wish I had her life. Right.
It's childish. It's
so stupid and not stupid. I think people just don't know.
Unless you've walked in someone's shoes, shut the hell up.
Yeah, people just don't know. They assume, everything's great. So you're like, but like I said, the more you talk about it and the more I've opened up to people in the last couple of months.
They go, me too, me too.
It's like, oh yeah, I get it. So that's helpful. And I think the media needs to really, help because there is it's just so bad. There's so many people suffering.
Yeah. They're doing better than they were decades ago, but it's still a stigma. And it's unfortunate because, oh, you're crazy. No, you're not crazy. And then you see somebody, this is bad though, because I think the media sometimes does play into this where let's just say somebody does something evil, right? They shoot up a place or whatever. And okay, that person is mentally ill, but it doesn't mean mentally ill people go shooting up places. Like, correlation is not causation. So most people who have whatever it may be, whether it's a mental illness, and mental illness could be anything, could be just stress. People lose their minds over stress.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to do something bad. Most people are only a harm to themselves.
You don't have to worry about me, be afraid of me, because I have a mental illness. And you know what? And you call it mind sickness. I like that.
Yeah, mind health.
Mind health. To me, it's also helped me to have acceptance.
Right.
I didn't want to accept this. because you know my mother is a pillar of strength, and
Tough,
no
tough
one
chick.
has gone through more crap
Oh yeah,
than that woman in her life. And she's the happiest, go luckiest.
yeah,
Nothing bothers her,
yeah.
never had anxiety, never had to. And I'm like, frig, like, why can't that be me?
But I think one of the things about your mother, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think her therapy was that she's a very gregarious, outgoing person that connects with people, and that's the other thing. Like you mentioned before, right? You were going alone into your room and cloistering up. That's the worst thing I think people can do. You might be good for a couple of hours, but you need to get out and talk and communicate with people, even if it's just talking to somebody at the counter.
Right.
I make myself get out. And even if it's just small talk, it's like, I could remember when we were all locked up for COVID. I mean, like I'm a bachelor, live on my own. Like I was going stir crazy.
I can't imagine.
And it was just a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh, finally I get to talk to just the person at the Starbucks counter. Like I didn't realize how much small interactions matter for our mind health, And I think I think that's what your mother had in her toolbox. Am I right about that? That she was very outgoing?
Yeah, she's always been outgoing. And I think she just, I don't know. She doesn't wear her religion on her sleeve, but my mother's deeply religious. She's deeply faithful.
Right.
She prays every day.
Right. But she's not wearing it on her sleeve. Right. She's not proselytizing and knocking on doors. Yeah.
She raised us, religious, but not to the extreme because she was busy raising us. She was a single mom for a long time.
Right.
I think she lived in constant crisis and chaos herself. And I think she's a survivor. She's just she's invulnerable.
Right. Yeah. She's tough chick for sure. No doubt about that. And I think sometimes, what's that?
It drives me crazy.
Yeah. All of our moms do it. But, I think sometimes when like your mother really went through something analogous to a World War II. I mean, when we're put in such dire circumstances, you tend to rise to the challenge. You have a choice. You're going to live or die. That's it, and your mother chose life. And I don't blame anybody for crumbling. And if they do, unfortunately, pass, they're not bad or weak. It's hard being a friggin' human. It ain't easy.
It really is. It really is. And everybody's got shit, Ann. I don't care who you are, how much you have, everybody's got something.
100%. And when people say, "Oh, that's weak," yeah, we're supposed to be weak. We're human. We're not God. We're not.
Vulnerability.
We are weak. Duh.
It's vulnerability. It's and that's one thing with mental illness too for me, or mind health, is allowing myself to be vulnerable.
Right.
And sharing my experiences and sharing. Like I don't go around telling everybody, what my life was like.
I hear you.
My closest friends, maybe.
Right.
But allowing myself to say, hey, you know what? I don't feel well today. I'm having anxiety.
Right.
It just, I don't know why. I just am.
Right.
Or calling my therapist or reaching out to someone. That letting myself be vulnerable is so helpful with this.
Right. 100%. And that's where strength is. The irony is because you are vulnerable, that's where you become strong. And I have friends that are, I'm sure people too, who are veterans in the wars of Iraq, Afghanistan, and they're hurting so bad. And especially again, men, they can't open up because they're a Marine or they're an Army guy. Oh, shut up. But I know they're dying inside. They've told me, and I'm like, bro, you got to get help, man, please. Like, whatever. I'm not a professional, but whatever I can do, So let me ask you this:
surprised how much you it helps. Go ahead. What do you want to ask?
I was going to say this. So what advice would you give somebody, or we can give people who, if somebody's going through something, whether it's stress, anxiety, a bad relationship, like a mind issue, like what would you tell them? What advice would you give somebody? Should they? Because sometimes people, in my opinion, they want to help, but they talk. It's like I just need you to be there for me. Just shut up. Just sit with me. Like, what about you? What advice would you give somebody that's
I would say, you know what? First of all, reach out, talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Pick your audience, of course, because, like we both said, there's still stigma. Get help if you can. If you can't, you have to have a friend or someone that you could say, I find that sometimes I just need to be listened to. I don't need you to tell me what to do, where to go, how to do it.
Right. Just listen.
I even maybe just be with me, have a cup of coffee, or, let's go have dinner somewhere.
Right. We don't,
sometimes not even talk about it at all. Just be.
Right. 100%. And I think maybe you tell me you're a woman, but what I think guys tend to do that when you share a problem with a guy. Sometimes guys want to. Oh, I got it. Do this, do that. I'm like, dude, just shut up. I just need you to. I think women are a little bit better, maybe at that. I don't know. What do you think on the female end? Do women?
I agree. I agree because I noticed it with my husband. My husband he wanted to take care of me.
Right.
He wanted to fix me.
Right.
You know, it still makes him crazy. Like I'm not feeling well this week, and he's my protector. He's
right.
And men tend to want to be
right.
fixers.
You
gotta women. I mean, although there's a lot of women I know that do suffer with it and don't say anything either. So, and I'm tough. I got this. I was that person. I'm not telling anybody. I don't want anybody to know. Right, and then you know what, Anthony? There's a lot of embarrassment with it too. It's very shameful. It is because
you would be better off having meningitis than having a mind health issue. No, I'm serious.
It's so true. Like, and then you do get the pity. Like you feel sorry for yourself. I went through that.
Oh, of course,
sorry for myself, which I'm sure a lot of men do because they're like, "What the fuck? Why is my friend over there?" Am I allowed to say fuck?
You could say shit, fuck, piss, whatever.
Okay.
This is not.
I'm supposed to be this strong. Man, I can't have anxiety. Women tend to be more. I don't know. I've seen both. I've seen both. I've. It's kind of like.
Right. Depends. So let me ask you this. So now, this is my opinion, but so do you think that like certain lifestyles, as it pertains to foods we eat or things we drink? I know for me, like I mentioned coffee, right? Like, do you find that certain foods can help or hurt you with your anxiety and stress, or no?
Well, I don't know personally. I take a multivitamin every day. I don't eat well. I'm a shit eater. I don't really drink. I drink wine here and there.
Right.
I smoke cigarettes, which is bad. I know that's not helping.
Well, it's funny. I mean, obviously cigarettes are not good to smoke. However, and I'm not saying people should smoke cigarettes, but cigarettes tend to calm people down. Hence why they smoke. I mean, right? It calms you down. It's a vasoconstrictor, which kind of like basically puts your body in a calming state, which is a hard sell for somebody when you're anxious and nervous and you feel good. I can't blame you for smoking, but obviously, ultimately, right? Yeah, it's not.
It's an addiction. It's an addiction like anything else. They say it's the worst addiction to get off of. Not that I'm making an excuse.
No, I hear you. Yeah. So,
I do exercise is really good, but I freaking hate exercise, which doesn't help. I hate it.
But you do feel better after you walk or exercise. I mean, I know.
I noticed, like I was down the shore this weekend, and here I am. I'm gimping on the beach. My grandson was with us. I'm gimping on the beach. I have the dogs. I don't.
You're out.
And I'm just like, I'm out and it's open and it's the
air. Feel better, right?
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like $1 million.
Well, that's the irony of it. Because I have a lot of friends that suffer with, mind health issues too. And I said, dude or dudette, you have to get out and breathe air and see the sun. We actually, it's a scientific fact. Vitamin D comes from the sun. It boosts our melatonin. It literally makes you happier. But you don't want to get out because you don't feel good. But you don't feel good because you don't want to get out. It's a vicious cycle. So it's like you have to get out. And by the way, that's awesome because you have not only family, but you have your grandchildren. And it kind of gives you the impetus to, I got to do this. If you're someone that
you don't want to. I mean, there's days we get my grandson every Wednesday. And I'm like, I don't want to do it today. And I love my grandson more than
I hear you. Right.
I'm like, I don't feel well. Like I'm tired and my anxiety, it manifests in different ways for me. I don't always have a panic attack. It could be dizziness. It could be extreme fatigue. Right. What I mean? It hits me in different ways. So when I'm feeling like that, I just want to like curl up on the couch and watch TV. And I hate freaking.
Now, let me ask you, when you feel like that, like how long does that episode last? Is it an hour, a day, 3 hours? Like how long when you say
20 minutes. 20 minutes. I get myself busy. I get up. I get myself busy.
Yeah.
I have dogs I have to take care of. I have my mom that I have to take care of. Yeah. I mean, my mom's situation has really surprisingly helped me.
Right. Because it gives you an extra cause to fight for, right? If you didn't have her, if you didn't have the dogs, if you didn't have the grandkids, it's a tough world. I mean, when you make it about somebody else, you become stronger. You have an impetus to fight. When it's just, I'm not going to mention names, but I got people in my life where they choose not to do anything. They don't have any hobbies. They're sitting and they're rotting. and their mind is almost really gone. And that's because they don't want to become part of something bigger than themselves. It's all about them.
Like, go to a freaking museum. Like,
Right.
like, how could you not want to travel? I mean, maybe people can't afford it. I'm not trying to say
but get out of the house and go for a walk. Go volunteer at your church, your synagogue, your mosque.
Right. Do something.
Soup kitchen. Like, right.
It helps because, COVID, I think COVID really fucked up this people in general.
Oh, yeah.
I think
mind health
mind health to the extreme. I know it did it for me.
Well, the suicide rates and drug use went through the roof during COVID.
Look at the deaths, the overdoses.
Because you're locking people up in solitary, essentially.
Right.
And so, right.
And I was alone a lot because my husband still went to work every day.
Right.
So I was sitting here, how much freaking TV can you watch? Like, I mean, it was just, I would sit on my back porch, and just watch the one car go by every 3 hours. I felt like I was living on Mars. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that bad during COVID. It's when COVID ended that
it really
spiked for me, which was so strange. It was like, okay.
I guess many people told me too during COVID, it was a nice thing because they thought that they got a chance to slow down, which was true.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what you're kind of talking about is like, then everything goes back to normal and you're back in this anxiety mode of, I got to do this. I got to do that. It's kind of a weird kind of conundrum, but I think the key for me, like you mentioned, is having friends, having family, having your dog, having something that's more than just about you,
and have a routine. You know what? If your routine is get up in the morning, drink your water, take your dogs out for a walk, whatever it is, like you need to have some kind of routine. You can't I work from home for my husband, which is with my husband, I say, not for him.
No, that's true.
And he's been helpful for that because when I'm at my worst, like when I'm really having a bad day, whatever, he'll give me a list. I need you to help me with this, 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 and this, hon. And at first I'm resentful.
Yeah.
I don't fucking do his list.
You don't tell me.
Don't tell me what to do.
Right.
And then I do it and I notice I'm like,
you feel better. Yeah.
This so keep yourself busy. Try to keep yourself busy and know that it's temporary. I mean, panic attacks are scary. They're so scary.
Oh, I know.
You think you're going to go. I wanted to go to the hospital. I was so scared. There was something wrong with me.
I thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a heart attack.
You think you're going to die. I think I'm going to wind up in a straitjacket in a rubber room.
The doctor told me, no, he said, Anthony, your diagnosis is you're an asshole. I'm like, what? I thought I was dying. No. Oh shit. Okay. But really,
that it's temporary. There's breathing exercises you can do. I learned this really good breathing exercise that actually I saw at Dr. Jen Ashton.
Box breathing.
Shout out to Jen Ashton on GMA.
All right, Jen.
Said you put your feet solidly on the floor, you close your eyes, and it's 12 seconds. You just say, you're okay, you're gonna be fine, you're safe.
Right.
And repeat it, put it on time for 12 seconds. And you know what, Anthony? Shit, if that thing doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, so I just did it before. I got out of the shower and I'm like, you're okay. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're safe. Know that you're safe. That's, but when you're in the midst of it.
The brain is a supercomputer. It can really F with you. No, there's no doubt.
For any of you with mind health right now, know that I get it. I know that when you're in the middle of this, you don't think nothing's going to work.
Right. Nothing, and even if you're depressed, it's going to get better. I mean, it is right. Yeah. I think people, they think it's never going to end and it will end. It will get better, but you have to get up, get out, talk to people. There's a lot of free help out there. Don't say you don't have the money. So now in closing, because I want to respect your time. I know you're a busy lady. Was there anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up? And again, I appreciate you coming on. It was awesome. I mean, we'll have you on again.
I see what I look like without my glasses.
No, you look good. You look good. I mean, yes. Was there anything else you wanted to add? Because
that's why.
No, you look great. Jackie O glasses. Come on.
No, just know that you're not alone.
Yep.
Know that you're not crazy, and know that mind health. It's the same, like you said. As I have a really bad cold right now. I have sinus infection. I'm going to pick up my amoxicillin.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Seek help.
Yep.
Talk to people.
Yep.
I mean, we spoke the other day when I was at the hospital with my mom.
Yeah.
came up, I'll talk to you about mental health.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, cool, because I'm looking for somebody to do that. So yeah, no, I mean, and we're all human. We're all weak. We're human. We're not God, and it's okay, you know. And
Have healthy boundaries for yourself. Do
yeah,
things that make you comfortable. Don't,
right.
Don't be a yes person if you really mean no, because
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
100%.
doesn't help with anxiety. But just
It's
try to take care of yourself and know that there's people out there. And you know
yeah.
what? Here I am on this live. You can reach out to me.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
just it's a journey, folks. And again, I can't say enough good things about BetterHelp, Talkspace, and or going to see your own private therapist. Every human, I think, on earth should get one if you can. And anyway, so I'm going to wrap us up. So don't forget, folks, like, subscribe, share this with somebody that you love. And thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, Lauri, as always. And,
and if anybody needs anything, needs anyone to talk to, me and Ann right
you
here.
can comment down on the comment section below, too. So thanks, everybody. I'm signing us off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.